All right, we should be live. And we welcome back to This Gaming Life with Odin and myself. It is great to be back. And this week was kind of throwing us for a loop just because one, we thought originally we were gonna do something else, but
hmm
it turned out that that wasn't the case. And so, I can't post these links anyway. And so, but this time, this is kind of really impromptu. So I mean,
Yeah,
we kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about anyway. Um, but yeah, how have you been, man?
pretty good. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. I've been kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? I have been trying to be as balanced as possible this week, and I feel like I've done a good job. But now I've got like all this stored up wacky energy just ready to be left out. So
What does that mean?
let's do this. I don't really know,
Okay.
but I guess we'll find out. You know.
Yeah, we will find out. Hold on, I'm changing some things around here.
All right.
So if you're
How have
watching our
well
stream, I'm sorry,
since
or the VOD
no.
back.
That's all right. So as he's doing that, I will comment on my gaming life this week. I finally broke free of my addiction to logging into ESO and doing as many dailies as possible this last week because of Back for Blood. Which, if some of you don't know, apparently I'm actually really surprised. Drummer, that you did not know about Back for Blood.
I've heard
It
of
is
it.
it's the spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series. So as some of you know, like Turtle Rock went through some changes, I think for the better. I think they were able to become more, I think, independent maybe of Valve than they were before. And so they are most famous for the Left 4 Dead series,
Mm-hmm.
and they created Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, and then they tried something very interesting called Evolve. And it was a cool concept for a game. I tried it. It was okay, but it just didn't it failed to create the audience I think that they needed to kind of make it into a franchise and make it worth, I don't know, going forward. And so I don't know that it went anywhere, but they decided to make Back for Blood, which is it's really just the spiritual successor. It should be called Left 4 Dead 3. But I gotta say, in my opinion, and I was kind of, I don't know, I was trying to keep my hopes somewhat stabilized a little bit and not get too hyped up because there's been a lot of AAA duds the last few years. But Back for Blood has exceeded my expectations in every way to the point where I actually argue it is better than Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 combined. Now, that's not to degrade the what do you call it? I can never think of this word when we're on stream. It's not an inflection point, but when you have an event that forever changes your view of a particular concept. What is that
Like an
called?
epiphany?
Not an epiphany. What Harry Potter would be to the literary world. What would you call that? It's not an epiphany. It's not a singular. Maybe it is
An
singularity.
archetype? I mean, I'm trying.
No, I know. I can't think of the word. But it's whatever. It's this like singular event, and I think Left 4 Dead as a game, as a concept, changed the way developers kind of approach PvP or approach their games in general. It was like I can't think of the right word, but it was amazing, and it was something that no one had ever done before. And so I they really didn't redefine the wheel in any way with Back for Blood, but I think they took the best elements of Left 4 Dead, and then they took some other ideas that other PvP games had tried, like Rainbow Six Siege or even uh, Call of Duty in their zombie mode, and they added these elements to it, which again, it kind of makes the game an amalgam, but I think it's better for it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like how, modern warfare changed the landscape of modern shooters when it added those RPG elements into the game where you could actually, level grind and create your own character with like the perk system and whatnot. So, it's one of those things, and I haven't been able to play a ton of it. I'm like an hour a night, so maybe I'm like 7 or 8 hours in, but each mode that I've tried feels really good. It feels really refined. It's crossplay enabled. And even though there are some obvious hiccups as any game has at launch, I have absolute faith that they will iron them out very quickly and it'll just get better and better. So anyway, that's my gaming week. How has your gaming week been?
Um, well, it was funny.
Oh,
So I haven't really, the only time I've had to play is when I've been streaming.
mm.
This past week. So played some Skyrim on Wednesday night, and we started the whole Bruma mod, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was intense. Like
Oh
we
yeah.
got into some trouble.
Yeah, I've
Um,
really that one really surprised me in terms of like the depth that they went into. It's
so
really good.
there's no main quest because it's part of a bigger mod. Um,
Right.
but we had a lot of fun. Like I said, it was really intense. All the graphical mods and all of the and like gameplay they all carried over, so we didn't like have any issues with
Oh,
that. The ENB carried over, all the textures, all the lighting, everything.
yeah.
So it was I mean, it was just gorgeous. uh,
Nice.
but I think one of the things that what I've been playing on kind of my off time when I'm not streaming and I have time, um, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm getting so burnt out on that. I don't know why. It's just, if you're into the Greek paradigm, then you'll love it. Like, it will be right up your. It's just I
Hmm.
like the Greek motif. It's just, but I'm 40 hours in, and it's like, okay, I'm kind of, the motif is no longer
Yeah.
keeping me, and the story is somewhat weak. Um,
Yeah.
and that's where yeah, so I'm 40 hours in. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through, because I was probably about halfway through the game and I was like, screw, because all the side quests are terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they try and because Ubisoft basically pops these bad boys out about once a year.
Hmm.
Um, there's just, the main quest usually is okay, but the world design is usually really good, but there's no lore except when, if they're using Greece, Greek mythology.
Hmm.
um and there's no, like, I don't care about the characters. Like, I'm playing as Cassandra, and to be
Yeah.
honest, if the next quest she bit the bullet, I wouldn't care. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, moving on.
Have you
Where
played with the male? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but have you played with the male character at all?
No, I was told not to because the voice
Fuck. Oh,
acting
it's
was terrible.
so
Yeah.
bad, dude. It's so bad. Sorry, continue.
But I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey because I bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Assassin's Creed Flag as part of a bundle for like $20. So I was like, okay, I don't
Ooh,
need to play
that's a good
through
deal.
all of them, but I
Yeah.
need to at least play through Odyssey just to kind of see, just kind of see how it is, because I've heard nothing but good things, and the world is absolutely gorgeous. It's just like, the thing is, though, there's no story that's making me want to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, I was going for 15 minutes, look at pretty things, and leave. Um,
Yeah.
and so, I still haven't played through Valhalla. I want to play through Valhalla because I find the Viking motif a lot more interesting, and I find just that kind of Western European, whatever, a motif, history, whatever you call it, a lot more interesting than I do ancient Greece. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with Odyssey, and really, I've kind of been getting somewhat burnt out on single player games. Not it's not that I don't want to play them. I just need something else. Like I need one. There are times where it's like I like the camaraderie of competitive FPS shooters. Like
Hmm.
playing as a team. I grew up playing sports. I played baseball. I played football. I played basketball. I competitive sports was something that was a big part of my life for most of my life. Um,
I'm shocked, by the way.
I mean, to the point where I got a scholarship to play college football, and so just competitiveness is just something that like I yearn for, and that's just not something that you get in single player games. Like I love the stories, I love the
Yeah.
world building, I love the lore, but working as a team to accomplish an objective is just not really something that you get. And so I've just been aching for just some sort of team FPS where it's like I'm looking forward to the new Halo coming out. I'm really looking forward to the new
Oh
Battlefield
yeah.
that's coming out. I've been watching the beta gameplay on YouTube, and it looks like a lot of fun. I even re-downloaded Battlefield 1 just because I love Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, not only is it like they did a great job building the world of World War 1, but it's also the
Yeah.
gameplay is fantastic. Um, what's up, Nikki? Good to see you. Um,
Hey, Nikki.
and so I'm just like, but that's the thing. Like I had this group of friends that I played kind of FPS shooters with, but
Yeah.
they don't really play that much anymore. They don't really play video
Yeah.
games at all anymore, and it's just kind of like, oh man, I'd play, but I got no one to play with. Um, and so yeah, it's just kind of that heart pumping. I want to scream at someone like that. That's what I want to do. Where that just in Skyrim I can scream at Inigo, and
Right.
that's pretty much the best that I can do. But but just Skyrim, whether it's Skyrim or Red Dead or Kingdom Come Deliverance, that's sitting in my queue right now. Because
Oh jeez.
once the anniversary edition comes out, every mod in my load order is going to break, and I'm going to be
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm not spending 10 hours fixing my load order.
Right.
Um, that
I've
just
been seeing a lot of tweets about that too.
Yeah, because the source code is going to change, and so the
Yeah.
source code. I mean, then everything changes. I mean, that's the found. I mean,
Everything.
you're taking the
Yep.
foundation out. And so they can do that's their prerogative, but it's just kind of one of those things. Then what? For me, I mean, I have
Right.
I have Fallout 4 also, just sitting there ready to go. I'm waiting for Sim Settlements 2 to update to get the new expansion to that. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I need some blood pumping. I need to yell. Like it's funny. I've had a lot of people ask me, say, your name's the exasperated gentleman, but you seem like so chill, like and just so contemplative. And it's
Yeah.
like I know I seem like that when I play single player games. Yeah, but you know what?
Right.
Play some Call of Duty with me, and you and you will hear some yelling and screaming and just general unhappiness, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
great.
great.
Um, and I suck at those games. I know I suck at those games, but I'm okay with it. It's just it's yeah. I just want that feeling of teamwork and teammates yelling at each other and getting pumped up and all that stuff. Like I miss that.
Oh, are you not playing ESO? That's what I want to know.
How am I
Because
not
it
playing
like,
ESO?
yeah, because I'm like, you get the best of both worlds, and I gotta plug it. I'm like, that's why I think I've been so into it, is that the multiplayer aspect of it, and I'm not talking about PvP, but I'm talking about like trials and vet dungeons and shit. Like, you will start to scream. You will start to, get frustrated, or, whether it's with the mechanics or with your teammates or with, someone learning the mechanics, whatever it is. That's what's kind of, you know, got me by the gooch, for the last year, is you
Yeah.
can switch to single player to multiplayer like that.
And
It's like,
yeah, and I remember when you and I would play ESO together and we would grind on. I would yell. I would trash talk.
oh yeah.
I would trash talk the AI. I had no shame in doing doing that either. Um, and that's fun. I think that with ESO, it was more just the grind. It was like I had time. Like I had time to
Hmm.
do dungeons for 3 characters, but then that was it. I didn't have enough
Yeah.
time because I can't start playing until around 8:30, which is when my streams start. But
Right.
then I got to be off by 10:30 because I need to be asleep by 11 so I can get a decent enough sleep to for the next day.
Right.
And it's just like I don't, and that's not, and just grinding the same dungeons over and over again because it's PVE. You get a little bit of that adrenaline rush, but it's not the same as playing against live people. Um, you
That's
can't
true.
you can't teabag AI. I mean, so
Well, and there is the PvP element. I'm just not really into it. I grinded to max out my skill trees in PvP, and maybe that's what kind of broke me, but um yeah, I started to get into it, but as soon as I started to get into it, I started to hate it again. And it's
mhm,
cuz it's like Destiny or like any other MMO like game that has a PvE and a PvP element that they do not separate. The developers are in this constant state of balancing
yeah,
where the players are never satisfied because there's always going to be some stupid meta that, you know, rises from the cream, and everyone just follows it. And if you don't, you just get owned, you get spanked, and it's just there's no fun. It's just not fun anymore.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
but anyway,
and that's where like it's hard. I think with ESO also, I mean, you can play in first person, but you can really only play in first person if you're just doing like a story mode. If you want to travel, by yourself, just
Mhm.
doing quests and doing the story, then you can do first person. But if
Right.
you're doing dungeons or you're doing PvP, you got to be in third person.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
agree.
not crazy about third person modes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm just unless it's a turn based game, I've never been a huge fan of live action third person. Um,
No, same here.
and so that's why Assassin's Creeds, even though they'll look really cool to me, I will get burnt out on them quickly.
Uh,
Um,
hold on, I got a question here from my wife, baby. You played how much of Assassin's Creed Odyssey did you do? Because you played that obsessively. Why? Why did you play a shit ton of it? What kept you going back? Is it like your general stubbornness, or did you actually like it? Okay. Okay. Right. So I don't know if you heard that or not, but my wife played the crap out of Odyssey, but I knew there were times that she wasn't liking it because of the exact same reason that you said. But she did everything in The Witcher 3 more than once. She
mhm,
did everything in Skyrim, everything in Fallout 4. And I mean everything to where only the Radiant quests were left.
mhm,
And she still did those. So I was, and she's doing the same right now with Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
mhm.
which it's almost exactly like Odyssey, other than the setting and the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this, yeah, the gameplay got tweaked maybe a little bit. There's a new element with the tribes, but like these are these are baby steps in the evolution of the game itself. And I agree with you that Ubisoft, while it might have worked in their favor to begin with, this whole pumping out Assassin's Creed once a year needs to stop. And I think they actually said that at one point, that it is stopping, that they're going to go back to a 2 to 3 year cycle so
Mhm.
they can kind of help rejuvenate the series. But yeah, it's as amazing as Origins and Odyssey was. I'm like you, but I got burnt out way before the 40-hour mark because I'm like, it's pretty much just the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what The Witcher 3 is the one exception to where I think there were certain portions where it's like, okay, I'm ready to kind of get this story going here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but the thing is though, I was done when I finished The Witcher 3. It was like, you know what? It's the next day, and I'm still thinking about it.
Oh yeah,
Odyssey, I don't give it a second thought.
right.
you know.
No, and
Um
that's I just restarted a couple nights ago Dragon Age Origins for like at least the 30th time, and I've
Mm-hmm.
never finished that game on purpose. And I'm like, you know what? I've got the mods that I want. They're in the game. I've got everything I need. I'm gonna try and actually beat it. Um, and I love it. I love the balance of the first person, but I think the only reason I love the balance is because now I have Back for Blood, which is, I play it primarily multiplayer.
Right.
So I kind of have that like both sides being fed. I do want to talk about uh I don't know if you heard this or not, but this is probably the biggest announcement, or I don't know if it's an announcement or revelation of this week. But uh did you hear that God of War is finally coming to PC?
I did hear that. And the only God of War I played was actually the first one. And I liked it. I
Okay.
beat it, and it was like, oh, for what
Yeah.
it was a good game.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm gonna go back and play 10 times. Um,
Right.
but for yeah, and so but I never played any of the other ones, mainly because after that I played it on PlayStation. I think PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the thing is, though, PlayStation 2 was my only PlayStation console, and then I kind of switched to Xbox because I wanted to play Morrowind. And
Yeah.
once I played Morrowind, that was all she wrote.
Oh,
I was then, I'm Xbox because I know that, PlayStation and Bethesda don't have, they have their issues. And
right.
so I was just like, I'm going to stick with Xbox. So I never played God of War um, or anything like that. But I am looking forward. And of course, now that I have, a friend of mine just gave me his PlayStation 4. He's like, I don't want it. You want it? I was like, sure.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, all the Sony stuff I know is going to start coming to PC. They already had Death Stranding, they already had Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, and now
Well, Ghost of Tsushima hasn't been officially announced yet,
it's on the
though.
Steam website. I was just on the Steam website.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah, let me show it to you.
Are you fucking kidding me? I've got
Yes.
the mobile here.
So let me
Oh my god.
go to the
Don't
store.
fuck with me, because that is the one that I really want.
No, I just Resident Evil. I know I just saw it today. Of
You
course,
did
now that I said
not.
that, it's not going to be. I just saw it on the main page. Of course, now that I say that, it's not going to be up there. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's not coming up for
Ghost.
me.
I
I'm
swore
looking on the
it's.
mobile. Yeah, no, it's not popping up for me.
I know for a fact I saw it on here.
Are you sure? Because it
I'm
hasn't been
positive.
officially announced.
I'm positive because I saw it and was like, oh wow, what the frick?
We need somebody to independently verify that. I'm
Yeah,
not
where's
saying you
Shadow?
didn't see it,
Shadow knows this crap. Um,
because I'm like, I've been waiting to hear the official announcement of Ghost of Tsushima, because that's now a, you know, well, I suppose Santa Monica is also owned by Sony, so that's not.
here, I'm gonna look it up here. Sorry, my face is gonna glow now.
No, that's all right.
Uh, this Ghost of Tsushima PC release date confirmed.
What?
This could just be a clickbait article. Hold on.
Okay, I hope so. Well, I know I don't hope so, but I think it is. I really want.
Oh no, it's not confirmed. I hate these freaking clickbait crap.
I know.
Anyway, no, I could have sworn I saw it on Steam. But I forget
It's
things. I don't know.
it's possible. I mean, uh, God of War leaked on the Steam page before it was officially announced. It leaked through the Nvidia Shield streaming something or other.
Mm-hmm.
It was some like a spreadsheet that was supposed to be internal, and obviously it leaked and whatnot. The thing for me is that, number one, I have played God of War on the PlayStation, and that's ultimately why I stopped playing it, because I'm like, the controllers are too small for my hands. I don't like I don't like. I feel like they're just. Maybe it. I want to say unresponsive, but I don't know that that's objectively true. That's something that like I feel is like they're just not. I don't know. And I've tried it with both the normal one, and I even got the Razor, fuck, Wolverine, it's called,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Oh,
is
that's what I have.
yeah. So that's like a happy medium of like if you like the Xbox controller layout, you can get that, and that's exactly what it is. But you play with it on PlayStation. Um, for some reason, I don't know if it was the layout or maybe it was just the fact that I couldn't mod it. You know, that I was just like I was getting frustrated. I didn't want to have to grind another game, you know, on top of ESO, and that could be it. Um, but
Oh,
I
timeout. Shadow,
oh,
you
okay.
are needed. So here's the deal, Shadow. I could have sworn I saw a at like on the homepage of Steam an advertisement for Ghost of Tsushima, but I just went there and I don't see it anymore. But I could have, man, I would swear on my son's life that I saw it. Do you know anything about that? Oh, I hope I didn't see. I hope it wasn't Sekiro that I saw.
Oh, that might be it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, let me
That would make sense.
oh, maybe it was Sekiro.
'Cause I've been waiting for the Ghost of Tsushima thing, like a drooling. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually more excited for that game than God of War. In all honesty.
All right, he's gonna see what he can find. It may have been
Okay.
Sekiro. Maybe I was just going nuts, which is
All
entirely
right.
possible. Um, but yeah, but anyway, no, I know all those PlayStation games are coming because I mean PlayStation's base. I mean it's free sales. I mean, could you like if Last of Us Two, went
Yeah.
on PC, like I mean
Oh,
it would go
I would
nuts.
finally play it.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have it for the PlayStation. I was thinking about streaming it, um, because I'm kind of in this purgatory of okay, when Skyrim breaks, what am I gonna stream?
What are you gonna play? Yeah.
What am I gonna stream for all 10 people that come to my
Right.
streams?
I mean,
um,
you know, there. You know what? I've been overwhelmed this year with all these good games. You know, like Deathloop and
oh, you like
I
Deathloop?
think I've. Oh yeah, I mean I like the concept. I like everything about it. I didn't buy it though because I'm like I don't think I'm actually gonna play it right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just all last year I was so geeked out on getting this new PC. I went on a spending spree of video games. Anything that looked cool, I bought it. Anything that went on a Steam sale for like under $20, I bought it. And now I have over 100 games in my Steam library that 99% of them I don't play. And so I was just like, you know what, I gotta stop. This isn't doing me any good. And I'm putting this like unnecessary pressure on myself to play these games when I'm really not in the mood, which doesn't help the experience. Like it actually negatively affects how I view that game. If you're not ready, if you try to pick up a game that you're not really into and you try to play it, and it's something about it you don't like, it's going to be like anything else. If you go out to dinner and you're annoyed and something, the most trivial thing goes wrong in your dining experience, you're going to be way more pissed off and irritated than you would be if you were in a happy mood.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, it's one of those. I just stopped and I'm like, all right, I'm going to really think about like each purchase that I make. And I know God of War, that's like a single player experience that I'm like I'm looking forward to, and I know that I'll play it. Now, the thing that I will say that you might be interested in this is that it is, and I'm going to keep this spoiler free. And I haven't finished the game, but the game doesn't really center around the action the way God of War 1 through 3 did. They added this very very personal father-son story
Yeah, I know his
to it.
son was in it, in this most recent one.
Yeah, but it's like it's what they did with it is something that I think only comes around, you know, in a triple A game once a generation.
Hmm.
What they did with it in terms of story, which is what everybody talks about. The gameplay is so secondary. Probably I would even argue like the gameplay is kind of in third place. The story would be number 1, the graphics would be number 2, and the gameplay would be 3. But even the gameplay, they like revamped it and they made the third person action aspect of it feel new, which again I think is really, really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for Sony, where a lot of their games are, kind of this. I don't want to say generic, but they're all kind of first person, or not. I'm sorry, single player, third person, games with these like pseudo RPG elements. Spider-Man, Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted, and it works for them. But at the same time, I really felt that like, other than Spider-Man's web slinging aspect, the game felt kind of underwhelming to me. It kind of felt like the same thing with like the later Uncharted. It just kind of like they just kept making baby steps in advancing the game in any aspect, and it was kind of, like with Assassin's Creed, I was just kind of burnt out on it. I didn't feel any emotional driver with the characters going forward or anything like that. But God of War, they did something different, and it's this real struggle of a father-son story, in the face of tragedy. And I don't know, it's just that's what really kept me. I tried it like 3 or 4 times, but I really do think, now that we're talking about it, it was the grind that I was like, I can't do this right now. I was so into ESO. I'm just like, I can't do this from two different sides. I need to have something that's a little bit more fun, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
No, that makes sense. And that was kind of one of the things that I was kind of interested, and I'd be really interested to hear chat your opinion on this, because here's the thing, most of I don't know if it'd be doing the word justice to call it this, but most of the people, most of the, are following, following, um, who watch our channels. Most of them have come from, they've watched us because they like Skyrim.
mhm.
Maybe a little bit of Fallout 4, but mainly Skyrim. And I know you, a couple years ago, you got burnt out, on Skyrim a little bit. And
Yeah.
I'm not burnt out. I do get burnt out from time to time if it's the only thing that I'm playing.
Mhm.
Um, so, I would be interested, chat for you guys, but also like when you get burnt out on something like that, that you still, I think you would say you still love Skyrim, even though you don't play it. Um,
Sure.
but like, I don't know, what do you do? When I say what do you do? Not like it's not a cult, but like, what's
It kind
the,
of is.
I mean, it has a cult following for sure.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I find interesting is, Skyrim is still top 50, as far as game being played at any one time on Xbox and on Steam.
Oh,
Um,
really?
hmm And it's
Hmm.
just, I would wonder, like, how many of those people are actually playing the game, or are they just testing mods and load orders? And
Oh, yeah.
how many people are actually like playing it?
Right.
Right now, um, in our stream, we're playing it because, actually this past stream I had two soft crashes, which I'm at the about 40-hour mark in this playthrough, and that was only the second and third crash that I had, the
Hmm.
whole playthrough, and it's a 366 mod load order.
Jesus.
um, but it's just like, what, how do you, when you get burnt out on something that you really enjoy, what do you go to? Like, if you got burnt out on ESO, what would you do?
Well, honestly, I just moved to another game. I would try to find something that catches my interest and I go with it. So at this point, I mean, it kind of depends. Like, if you were to ask me this 20 years ago, it would be a lot more restrictive. It would depend on what the console I had, how much money I was making, um, so on and so forth. But now that I have a gaming rig, and like I said, I have over 100 games that I can choose from that can really kind of I can basically be in any emotional state and
Mhm.
find a game and try it and find something good about it, or at least I can go towards, like, if I'm feeling really aggressive, I can go play Shadow of Mordor, and I know that I'll be able to get some aggression out on that thing, or now God of War. I really just it kind of depends. I think for me is that up until this last year, Call of Duty has always kind of been in the background. It's always been there as like an option.
Mhm.
And it's always been that nice option that you can pick up for a day, you can pick up for a week, you can pick up for a month, and you can have a lot of fun. You can grind some stuff on there, but there's no feeling of obligation to go back to it.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the fun of multiplayer, primarily multiplayer games. And for me, I think what ESO gave me is that it gave me, both of those worlds in one, and everything you do in the game can benefit you in some way. And so now that I'm at the point where I've got 11 characters, all fully leveled, almost all of them with all the skill lines they want, I've got two player houses fully decked out. I'm really just waiting now. It's like I'm just waiting between updates for new systems to come out for me to enjoy and attack like done. So like RNG loot, right? That's being dropped from ESO altogether. So knowing that's coming, it kind of killed my motivation to log in every day and run the dungeons. But I'm okay with that. That doesn't feel like something's being taken away from me. It feels like I'm waiting for something new. So it's opened up the opportunity that, like, hey, I've really been looking forward to Back for Blood. So I buy back, well, my wife got it for me for Christmas, and I've really been enjoying it. And it kind of like spawned to me like, what have I really enjoyed that I haven't finished yet? Dragon Age, and now I have God of War coming in January to look forward to. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's like a You ever listen to a playlist that you've made and you just listen to it over and over and over, and you can't stop yourself from kind of listening to it until one day you hear a song from an artist, you're like, I want to listen to just them.
Yeah.
And you listen to them for just a day, nothing else.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like video games works a lot in the same like wavelengths as those in my brain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that it does make sense. I think maybe that's where I'm a little different. At least with single player games, because I think when I get burnt out on Skyrim or Fallout 4, I'll do exactly. I definitely don't have 100 games in my library now. I'm interested. How many games do I actually have? Um, one, two. I maybe have 3 dozen. Um,
Oh, that's plenty.
It is, and most of them I don't even have downloaded on my computer. Um, but the thing is that, like, here's the thing, because I'm looking for those games to capture me the way, not even capture, enrapture. It rhymes, but but a more aggressive enthralling of this of what Skyrim and the Fallout
Hmm.
franchise has done, to the point where, like, I'm so engrossed in this world to I'm not a visitor of this world, I'm a citizen of it.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, that's one of the reasons why I don't like third person, because you lose that. um Even though it is cool to see your character from an aesthetic standpoint, you make your character
Mhm.
look like what you want and all that stuff. um but you lose that. you lose that sense of wonder of seeing the mountains in the vista and thinking, I am going there when I'm not the one going there. This artificial character is the one going there. Now, I know it is actually the artificial character going there no matter what point of view I'm playing from, but there's still that illusion that, yeah, that's just missing. And so that's why, like, Cyberpunk. I really enjoyed Cyberpunk because it still gives you that sense of wonder, but in a completely different way. Most of those types of games are in either post-apocalyptic or high fantasy worlds to where there's a sense of otherness. Where like Night City, there's not really that sense of otherness, but there's a sense well, there is slightly. It's like, no, this is very much like very similar to reality, just tweaked. Um and so that's where like I have a hard time going and finding other games that will capture my attention for 80, 90, 100 hours of it at a time. Even Red Dead Redemption 2, as much as I enjoyed that game and thought that game was so well done, um, I went back before I started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I went back and tried to get to and play through Red Dead Redemption 2, and it just lost me.
Huh.
There wasn't that sense of wonder, even though I knew this is a great game and I love the Western motif and I love the characters and all that stuff. But it's just, I got through the introduction where you finally get to Valentine and
Yeah.
it just lost me. Um,
See, I gotta say, you and I are actually kind of different in that. When I'm playing third person, it doesn't take away from my immersion into the world.
yeah, and that's where it does for I would say the only game where it didn't was The Witcher 3. Um, just
Interesting.
because the lore was so rich. Um, and you knew
Huh.
each character had a history where like Red Dead Redemption 2, as much as I enjoyed it, and all of the main characters had great lore to them. But
Hmm.
I think in whether it's The Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk or Skyrim or Fallout 4, every building you went into, there is a history there to be found if you wanted to take the time to find it. Um and I really like that. Um it's almost the sense that there's virtual ghost haunting your character's steps, where it's just kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't get that in Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't get that in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. um and yeah, I'm not sure why, but I did get that in The Witcher 3. So that's what's like, if I'm trying to track down the variable that, the the differing variable, it may not necessarily be third person because The Witcher 3 is in third person, and I still
Yeah.
felt that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to describe. That's why
Interesting.
I always come back to Fallout 4 and Skyrim. It's because when now part of the reason is because Skyrim has 5 or 6 Elder Scrolls games before it.
Right.
Not only that, like Greymore, which was originally called Blackmore, I know the history of that place in the lore because it was in the Elder Scrolls arena. Um,
Hmm.
and I know, and so when I go into that dungeon, even though it's just a minor dungeon, because most people that play Skyrim, they probably never played those games. They don't know the history of that place.
Right.
Um, but I do. So when I go in there, I can almost hear the footsteps of the people that lived there when it was not a ruin.
Okay.
Where it's just like, I don't know. I don't get that in Red Dead Redemption. As good of a game as it is.
So I can definitely understand that a world having not just lore of the game, but history of the world definitely can pull you into it more. One game that I am surprised isn't more popular than it is a game called Spellforce 3. I probably mentioned it to you before, but it is a really unique top-down RPG with real-time strategy elements to it. And ironically, one of the main characters is actually the voice actor of Geralt of Rivia. And it's this completely different world that I knew nothing about, and yet how rich the lore was, and in the same way
Oh
that you
wow.
can do it in
So I'm looking
Skyrim.
at screenshots of it. It was
Oh,
gorgeous.
it's amazing. The story is so good,
Mm-hmm.
and there are like, even though it's like a real-time strategy, you can still talk to almost everybody in the game, and they'll give you some sort of history. And if you have a jacked up enough computer, the cities are absolutely
And I do.
filled with hundreds of people, and you
Hmm.
can yeah, it really took me off. But at the same time, I'm trying to think, like, even a game like Back for Blood, though, and I just keep coming back to it because I'm currently playing it. There are characters, and they have, there's not a huge history, and maybe this is an element that was missing in Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, but there is an overall story to the campaign that Left 4 Dead didn't have, and there weren't major backstories to each character, at least that was revealed to you through dialogue or whatever, or reading in the game, where the characters in Left 4 Dead seem way more fleshed out. I mean, as fleshed out as a game type like that can be,
Yeah.
but still, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, from the get go, I felt like just 100% immersed in it, and
Yeah, I just
I don't
added
know.
that to my wish list. I have not played a RTS in a long. I've definitely. It's been. It's. I mean, it's been even longer since I played an RTS with a plot.
Oh, it's not a real time strategy. So let me clarify here. So
Okay.
it is a top down action RPG,
Oh, so it's like a
right?
Baldur's Gate or like Wasteland type
Yes,
game. Okay.
but there are RTS components to where, like, you are sent to this town and you have to make substantial vital decisions in how the story plays out,
Mm-hmm.
and then you actually get to build, destroy and rebuild these massive battles in a real-time strategy element. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's like, all you got to do is basically get a couple of people together, produce some basic units, a healing unit, cavalry, whatever, and then attack this one, make a few more, attack this one. Okay, those three are done, you've won the battle. Other times it's like, it's going to take you 2 or 3 hours to basically move from this side of the map to the other side of the map as you build an army up and continue on. And it's like StarCraft on steroids.
Hmm.
It's like no other game that I've ever played. And it's if you look at the reviews, it's overwhelmingly positive.
It
I
is.
do
I'm
believe this is
looking at them right
PC
now.
only. Yeah. I have never played a game like this, and again, the ESO kind of ruined this for me. But I got pretty far into the game, and the dialogue, the lore, everything is so well written. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
oh god, it's so good.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out. So I put it on my wish list. Since this came out in 2017, my guess is this is something that before the year is out, it'll go on sale.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I got it for less than $20 for like the collector's edition
yeah,
or
because
whatever it
right now
is.
the just Spellforce 3 is at 49.99. Because I also have
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate and Wasteland 3 in my wish list.
yeah. I
Um,
didn't know that it came out in 2017.
December 7th, 2017 is what
No shit. I thought it was older for some reason.
yeah. But no, I like RTS. The last RT, I know you said it's not a real RTS, but the last kind of RTS that I played was Frostpunk, um,
Oh yeah.
which I enjoyed. It was kind of one of those things I was just in the mood for like
Yeah.
a chill afternoon, so I played Frostpunk. Um, but but yeah, I think that's when we talk about like how are our, when we talk about this gaming life, and it's just kind of like if you're a single player fan, there hasn't been a game that you can replay and replay and replay and replay to come out just in years. Um,
Yeah.
because you had, let's see here. What I mean, you have games like Outer Worlds that came out, which Outer Worlds was great. I loved Outer Worlds. I played through it twice. I played through it on this channel, and and it was good, but it's not something that you can replay over and over again. Um, even though we may disagree on this, Fallout 76, I really enjoyed Fallout 76. Um, but you definitely feel the ghosts in Fallout 76 more so in any other game that I've ever played, bar none. Not just
Hmm.
Fallout games, any game. Which is really cool. It gave it even though it's brightly colored, it's still spooky, which is cool.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but it's still one of those things that maybe it's because you can't mod it. I don't know, but it's not one
That
of those things
that's a
you can't keep
no. Go.
going
Sorry.
back to.
Yeah.
And that's where like I know that Ubisoft tries to fill in these gaps with just coming out with an Assassin's Creed every year, but yeah, it's so repetitive to the point where like I don't care about the characters. I don't care. The
Hmm.
world looks cool, but I don't care about the world. And because it's so like the Peloponnesian War for Odyssey, I know how that ends. I love history, so I know exactly how it ends.
Right.
You don't have to tell me. So so even the going and conquering different sections of Greece, if I was like, I want to capture them for Sparta, I know that's a fool's errand because, sorry, spoiler alert, but Athens wins the Peloponnesian War
Right.
and Sparta loses. And Sparta is
Yeah.
never the same again. Um,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, it's just kind of like, why would I conquer all these for Sparta when I already know what happens?
Yeah, and I
Um,
think for me, I got to say too is like there were supposed to be, some games like Mass Effect Andromeda that was supposed to be the next big replayable massive series, and that completely fell on its face. And then they tried Anthem, that fell on its face.
yeah.
I'm really scared for Dragon Age 4, but um, I think in terms of like first single player games that you can replay over and over again, from what I've seen from like primarily like Twitter and other YouTube channels, are all PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah.
I mean, like people still play Spider-Man Miles Morales, the new one. People still play, God of War over and over, The Last of Us 2. I mean,
Yeah.
what was it, Ratchet and Clank that just came out, to like amazing reviews.
Hmm.
Ratchet and Clank, I played the crap out of those on PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. Those games were like my jam up until the third one, and then I kind of think that's when I really started to get into Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I know. I have Last of Us too. It's sitting right back there, and I was actually
Have you
thinking about.
ever played it?
I haven't. I haven't played the first one. I haven't played the second one. I have both of them right
Yeah.
back there. And I was actually thinking about streaming them, um, because I think it would be a lot of fun. I know there may be some things I need to like go black, on some of them, just because you can't share that on YouTube. But
Wait, what do you mean?
I know there's nudity in Last of Us 2. I don't know about
So,
Last of Us 1, but
Uh, I'll tell you this. I did some research on that.
mhm.
So I found out that if the nudity is part of the game and the game is not like some weird Japanese hentai sexual game or whatever,
Yeah.
they won't ban you. Because I've played God of War. I think I played God of War 3 years ago, and there is gratuitous nudity in that game. Um, and even in, oh fuck, what was that other game I was trying to think of? The Witcher 3. And you won't get tagged for it. You may
Hmm.
not be able to oh no, I still have ad revenue on that. And yeah, as long as it's nothing that's like like you don't make everybody nude with a mod in Witcher,
Uh-huh.
that would get banned. But if it's part of the game and you haven't done anything, they won't stick you.
Well, it's more I don't want that on my channel more than
Oh,
anything
oh,
else.
oh, okay, never mind.
And so, but that's that's a different topic.
Whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think so, what was it? Shadows. Witcher 3 is the last game that came out that has replayability. I want to replay Cyberpunk. For Cyberpunk had replayability for me. I didn't experience the issues that most people experienced, and
Right.
as far as technical issues, and it seemed interesting to me. I mean, there was one huge blunder. It had nothing to do with the mechanics of the game or the implementation of the game or the glitchiness. It had to do with the story. Just for a video game, had one huge glaring issue to me, and that was just the
No spoilers.
no,
I
no,
still
no,
haven't
no,
played
no,
it.
no spoilers. No,
Okay.
no, no. It was just the sense of urgency of the main quest to where
Oh
you
yeah,
didn't
you
feel
told me
like you
about
could
that.
do side quests. That was the
Right.
major like Cyberpunk. What are you doing? Like, if you thought so many people complain about Fallout 4 that it's like you can't go side quest because you're looking for your son. What parent will
Right.
you go off do these other things while the son is out there? If Fallout 4 is like a 6 out of 10 as far as violating that rule, Cyberpunk's like a 9 out of 10. Um,
Wow.
but um, but yeah, I mean, that's where it's just kind of when you're playing the same game over and over and over again, you can make it as pretty as you want, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that my Skyrim game looks better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Um,
Yeah, that was always a weird thing with me. Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, and I know a lot of people, and maybe they're just not seeing it, but there were a lot of places like the ground textures, some of the mountain textures and tree textures, even on Ultra, I was like, this looks like garbage.
yeah,
I was really surprised by how many people didn't comment on that.
yeah, I can't say I looked too closely. I'll have to do that again. One, it's hard to look closely at grass when it's third person. Now, granted, Red Dead Redemption 2 does have a first person component. You can play first person Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. I forgot about that.
yeah, but when you're 99% of people play third person, and so if you're playing third person, it's hard to look up close and personal to grass textures,
Yeah.
which is part of the reason why you'll always see third person games look better than first person games. Not because the textures are in actuality better, but because you can't look at them as closely.
Hmm.
And so like if you would look at if you would look at Red Dead Redemption, I'm trying to think of other games that are considered like some of the best graphical games. If you look at Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm sure if you went into first person and you went as close to a tree as possible, you'd be like,
Yeah.
this is blurry as crap. There's no definition. There's no nothing. Um, and so yeah, I mean that doesn't
I'm
surprise me. Um,
I'm really interested to see. Now I'm like going to be really looking for that for God of War, because I do remember that God of War on the PlayStation 4 um looked amazing. And it was the end of the life cycle game. It's obviously made by a studio that is owned and has by Sony, and has all the tech available to them. They know the tech. They like, they're really obviously very good at it. But now I'm interested to see like if there is any sort of like upgrade, or if it's going to look the same on PC. I know it'll play better with like unlocked frame rates and things like that, but now I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to kind of go into an analysis and see yeah, I don't know, see where it is. I'm going to judge it on a scale.
yeah, because I mean, if you would go into Fallout 4 or well, maybe not Skyrim, because Skyrim is just Skyrim's 10 years old at this point. But if you would go into Fallout 4
Right.
and you go into third person, like, oh wow, this looks fine. Like, there's nothing. This looks fine. Looks great. But you go into first person and you're able to like go up close on some of the bricks in downtown Boston. You're like, ugh,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
this is not good. When
Yeah.
it's just because you're in first person. Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, I'm sure the textures are better because its game came out 3 years later, but it's not like. But all the games, it's just third person games can get away with that.
Yeah.
because you're just not looking at it as closely. But I
I
know
never.
you.
I
I know you said you had a strict time limit, and it's almost 10 after
Yes.
10 my time, so 10
All
after
right.
7 your time. So I just want to be sensitive to the fact that
Oh
I.
yeah. I
Uh,
gotta. You know what? Let me do this. Let me take my drugs. Hold on. Do this right now. That's the main thing I wanted to do is I didn't want to forget that.
mhm.
Um. Yeah, we'll start this up to be on the safe side because I'm going in for like a really. I'm just going in for one run tomorrow, but this is gonna be really early. Um.
You about to say something?
Yeah. I'm like. So what I'll do is I'll try this week and look at because I really do think that like Dragon Age Inquisition, which I'm currently playing, is one of the most beautiful games to ever come out for last gen.
Mhm.
And it
I
came
agree.
out right at the beginning.
Mhm.
It came like it was a launch title. So it kind of now I'm going to go back and kind of take a little bit closer look at it because I was just thinking about it the other night when I was playing. I'm like, this is fucking gorgeous game. But now that you've mentioned that, I don't know that I've ever really scrutinized a game that I wasn't modding graphically for its graphics. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to kind of look at that. But one thing I'll say, and I've thought of this before, and I don't know that I've mentioned it, but I will say one thing about video games, and this is kind of more for you and me. I don't think this really applies to a lot of the people who watch us, but one thing I noticed that I kept coming back to, and this is why I don't stream anymore, and I don't think I'm going to go back to it, is that there is a couple of things that pulled me out of the immersive aspect that you talked about. When you're playing a game, even if you played it before and you like it, always being aware of that chat window
Yeah.
and wanting to respect the people that are in there and trying to talk to you. As fun as that is, that really took away from my gaming experience.
I agree. It does
And
for me too.
yeah, and like it got to the point, like granted, like I was doing this is all I was doing was making content, and anytime I game I streamed. So I think what happened is I kind of overdid it. So I don't want to say I'll never go back to streaming, but it's one of those things that I'm like I'm definitely done with it for a while. Like Skyrim and just streaming I got burnt out on. But knowing that I don't have to answer anyone's questions, I can free thought my own process, just let my brain go wherever and really immerse myself in the game is definitely an aspect that I think is necessary. Like if my wife was talking to me while I was trying to play Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk, I would lose it. I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up." She's looking at me now. She doesn't know what I'm talking. I'm not actually telling you. I'm not actually telling you to. No, 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 no. I didn't hear you. But I do believe it's one of those things where when you're doing something else or the state of mind that you are in when you start or you're playing a game really affects your entire experience. And I feel like instead of recognizing that, we can sometimes say the game's terrible. I've done that with plenty of I've done that with games, I've done that with movies, I've done that with music albums. Like I hated Dark Souls 1 when I first played it. I bought that game 3 fucking times. The first 2 times I had to rebuy it because I got the disc and I snapped it in half.
Oh, jeez.
I fucking hated it. I hated that game so much. But once I think it was like 2 years after it was released, I was like, at a different place in my life and I sat down, I was like, "Oh, let me give this a shot. Let me do a little research in YouTube videos, see what I'm really getting into." And it was just at that moment, at that time, that it clicked for me. And that's all I played for like 3 months. And I beat it. And I beat like all the side bosses. I did everything. Um, and I think I talk about this with ESO. Like I've been playing ESO on and off for 6.5 years, but it's only this last year where a combination of things came together where I could mod the game to a certain extent that made my life easier. And it just kind of clicked. And I think that I don't know. I just think a lot of times it really is a multifaceted situation where when we're looking for a new game, sometimes that game finds us. I know that sounds kind of cheesy and fatalistic, but
No, I know what you mean. It's just
you
funny.
know,
Yeah, I'm just different in that respect because if a game doesn't get me in the first 10 hours, it's not going to get me at all.
no, I agree with you on that. I agree. Well, oh god,
Especially if it's a
I think
first
there's a
person game. Or I'm
yeah,
sorry,
but
like
I
a
think
single player game.
there's a spectrum there though. You know, so no, I think you're right actually. For a single player game, no, I agree with you. If it doesn't catch you in the first 10 hours, it's not going to get you. I do agree with that. I think if there are other aspects to the game that are different or unique enough, they can grow on you over time.
Hmm.
But I do believe, yeah, if a game doesn't grip you like right away, like Cyberpunk took my balls and like shook them gently. It was like
Because
that.
yeah, the first 5 hours of that game
Oh my
are
god.
amazing. Are
Oh, it's so fucking
It's the
good.
best first 5 hours of a game I've ever played in my life.
Yeah, it's it's so good.
Hmm.
Um, but I knew that even though as good as that was, I knew that like while I was playing it, I was thinking of ESO. You know, and it's like that thing where you said like, you know, when you were playing Witcher the next day, that's all you could think about, right?
Hmm.
And that has literally been this entire last year. Whenever I've tried to play another video game, I'm just thinking about ESO. And literally for a year, this last week was the first week in 12 months, 13 months that I was able to play other games and enjoy them and not think about ESO, not stress about like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. I got to do this in this time frame. Um, and I think sometimes you know, that's just the way it works for me. And I think that happens with a lot of people sometimes. You know, I've seen, you know, there's someone I follow that has been obsessed with Days Gone. She has I don't know how many times she's replayed that game. And that is primarily a very single player. It's more linear actually than I expected it to be. Um, I didn't see the replayability in it, but she's gone through it at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. But when a game gets you, it can really get you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, but I agree. And it can, but it's just and that's where like multiplayer games is almost the opposite for me. Like the first 10 hours, I know I'm not gonna like it because I don't understand it. I don't understand the tactics
yep,
involved. I don't
yep,
understand the strategery. And so but like usually once I start like but I'll maybe watch a couple YouTube videos on it. I'll play it a little bit more, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I get
mhm,
it.
yep,
And
yep,
then I'll be like, okay, and so and then I'll get into it, and I'll be like, yes,
yeah,
like let's go. Like I don't need to be great at a game to like it, but I at least need to be competent. Um, and so, um,
yeah.
but yeah,
No,
it's
I agree
funny
with
how
that.
those
So
those things are kind of an antithesis to one another.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Um, so do me a favor. If you get the chance and if you can stomach it, check out my videos on Back for Blood. I'm talking to you, drummer Mike. Um, if you get a chance, because it's one of those games that I think is going under the radar because like it is on Game Pass. There are so many other games, you know, not only coming out right now, but that are being announced. You know, like the Dune movie is being released. You know, it is released right now.
Hmm.
There's just like so much other stuff going on. I really do feel like it's flying under the radar, and it's such a unique experience that no other game really gives you. Not even Call of Duty Zombies. That if you're interested at all, I really think you would like it, but or anyone, but you in particular, if you can stomach even just a little bit of the videos that I've made, I'd be interested to see if you like it or not. And
Yeah,
if
no,
you know
I'll,
what,
I'll check them out.
and how about this too? If you do, if it piques your interest to the enough where you want to get it, I'll buy it for you for Christmas. No, I'm dead
Well, then
serious.
I'll definitely play it.
So that'll be my Christmas present to you.
Oh,
But
now I gotta
I
get you
don't I
something.
don't want to I don't want to like tell you like, hey, I'll buy you a game for Christmas. But if you're not going to play it, it's like one of those things that I'm like, I do want you to enjoy it.
I can
You
tell you
know,
this right now. I
don't.
won't play it by myself. Um, it will be one of those things where, and this would be the case with any multiplayer game. It really is irrelevant of how much I like it on its own. Uh, I won't play it unless I feel like I'm playing with people that I can work with as a team. And so that's where I actually looked at it on Steam today.
Mhm.
Um, because it's just like, man, it's just that, like I said before, missing that competition, that working together as a team that I miss
Yeah.
so much. And as long as it has that aspect and I'm having
Oh
fun
yeah.
with the people who are playing it, I'll have fun playing almost whatever. The
So,
only game that I've been able to play that's a multiplayer game that I didn't have to play with other people, to be honest, was Battlefield 1. And that's just
mm,
because, to be honest, back at least back when I used to play it all the time, um, with people, I would get on it by myself, and I was just, to be honest, I know this is gonna. It's the only game that I was like really. It was the only multiplayer game which I was really good at. Like I was really good at sniping in Battlefield 1. So I would sit across the map and just snipe people, and that would just be my
yeah.
chill out time.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably can't do that anymore because I haven't played it in a couple of years. But really, other than that, whether it's Call of Duty or whether it's really anything, ESO. If I don't have people to play with, Borderlands was the same way. Then I'm not going to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to check it out and think about it then. I didn't play like I just hop down with random people every
Mhm.
time I play, whether it's campaign or PvP, and I can have fun because I just enjoy the zombie apocalypse aspect of the game, and I mute everybody. So not only am they not communicating with me, or I can't hear if they are. I'm not communicating with them. But the thing is that it's only 4 players on a team ever. And so the organic kind of cohesiveness, I don't want to say it's forced, but it's like there's no way for it not to happen, if that makes sense.
Mhm. No,
So,
I
like,
understand.
yeah. So I was playing with like 4 people yesterday. We weren't. I wasn't talking to them. I don't think they were talking to each other. And we knew the objective. We were working well together, and we, won 2 out of 3 matches for our team. And in campaign, we burned through like the second half of an act that I was struggling with, like butter. And it was oh god, it was so much fun. But anyway,
Yeah. And that's where I'll have to check it out because, to be honest, for the most part, if it's a multiplayer game and that's the focus of the game and I can't interact with the people or I don't want to interact with the people that I'm playing with, to be honest, it has a
yeah,
real short life for me.
yeah,
Because I'm playing it for the social aspect. I'm not playing
okay,
it because it's super or because I'm super engrossed in the game. Um,
gotcha,
Same reason why, like, I'm not going to go in and play Call of Duty by myself.
yeah.
It's just it's not gonna I'm not good enough at those type of games to where I can have fun just because I'm so freaking good that it doesn't matter. Um,
Okay.
so I mean, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll watch some of the
Yeah,
videos
just
and
let me
see.
know. Like, don't
Um,
don't feel pressured one way or the other though. Like, I really want it to be like something that you're like, "Oh yeah, I think I would really enjoy this."
yeah, and I'll watch my videos, but my initial inclination is I will really enjoy it if I play with other people that also really enjoy it and we can have fun together.
Okay.
But I will definitely check it out. But
Cool,
we're
man.
coming up at 10:30 my
Yeah,
time,
let's
7:30 your time. So we're going to call it here, guys. I know this was kind of
cool.
impromptu because this wasn't the original intention, but because some things changed. But we still had fun, good conversation.
Yeah.
And guys, I will see you guys in the next one. If you want to check out any Back for Blood stream, or not streams but videos, ES videos, head over to Verdict of Odin's channel and you can see him there. If you're interested in some Skyrim videos or Fallout 4 videos or anything like that, you can subscribe and hit the bell notification button for this channel. And yeah, we may have a dual stream Saturday tomorrow. with a little Skyrim drinking game incorporated in. Just if there's going to be, got to create new hooks for an 11-year-old game, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys. It's good to see you as always, and we will see you
Yeah,
in
man.
the next one.
Latest.
All right, we're out.